Hello again. Today I'm going to be looking at Deathmaster Snikch, which I think is how you pronounce it, which is a Citadel fine cast resin miniature from Games Workshop for the Warhammer Fantasy or Age of Sigmar. I ordered this into my local shop. I find that's generally the best way to do it because you don't have to pay any postage that way. It cost £11. I ordered a few more things at the same time, which I'll be getting to. We've got, let's see, quick head something, what's that? Quick head taker, and Tretch Craven Tail, which surprised me by being a metal one. I thought they were all going to be resin. But anyway, here we go. As usual, you get your little blister pack here, no instructions because none are really needed. And here is the figure itself, and I have to say it really is extremely nicely detailed. So let's have a quick look at him. There we go. I'm actually quite a fan of the fine cast. I did have some of the early ones and they were very problematic with big air bubbles and holes and all sorts of problems, but they seem to have got on top of that. It's a bit of a shame really that they seem to be phasing them out, because even though the plastic miniatures are getting better, certainly, I still think the resin have got the edge on them just. But anyway, it came with a square base because obviously we haven't repackaged this yet for Sigmar, but that doesn't bother me. I don't care if it's a square base or a round base. I was quite interested how angular the movement of his cloak is up here. I mean, it's a very dynamic pose. He's got his 3 blades, one here, and one in his tail. The miniature itself was on one sprue. It was 3 pieces, which was this arm here with this sword, and the tail, and the main body. It went together very well, but there was an awful lot of excess material to cut off, and I had to be extremely careful because some of the places in which it was attached to a sprue were not what you'd call logical. It meant you'd have to be extremely careful cutting them off, or you could end up removing sections of the model. I actually use standard craft knife like this for these things, but I use a deliberately blunt blade because I find it's quite easy to go through the resin further than you intend to, because it's quite a soft material. Also, if you have a look at his base here, it's a very nice little base. He's got he's standing on the breastplate of a fallen soldier, and there's a skeleton inside and rats poking out who've obviously been eating him. So yeah, all in all, a very nice figure. It actually took me a lot longer to make than I thought it was going to, as I say, purely because there was so much excess. And it's not nothing against the mould itself, it's more that it's just attached to the sprue in so many places. It's quite difficult to completely free him up. So it probably took me the best part of an hour actually to make him pretty much perfect here. You've got these little slime balls dribbling off his sword, well, daggers I suppose, or short swords, as you can see here. And that, when you're cutting it from the sprue and the sprue is attached onto them, is very difficult to know where to cut, but I'm pretty happy with it. I keep thinking I've left bits, but I don't think I have. But his arm particularly was very hard to put on because there was a lot of framework behind where you see the hand at the moment, so I had to sort of cut into that and dig it out while trying not to ruin the detail or cut too far here, to try and make some kind of flat surface so that his hand would attach. But as is the way with resin models, they take a little bit more effort, but they're always very nicely done. So there he is. All in all, I'm very pleased with him. I think £11 is a good price for something like this. On a side note, I want to tell you about this chap here, Typhus. I ordered him from an app called Wish, which is kind of like a buying and selling app on the iPhone. I suppose it's probably on the Android as well. And some of the stuff on that is legitimate and some of it is copies. We ordered my son some Paw Patrol dogs from it, and they are copies, but they're extremely good, and it meant he could have all of them. So it's a bit hard to know what to say when it's a copy of someone else's work, but they were cheap and they're pretty good, so I think for what they are, they're fine. But this brings me to this. There is a resin fine cast version of him, and this isn't it, although you wouldn't know it looking at him unless you turn it upside down and see that the base is one solid resin lump. And working with a resin itself, I mean, it is harder material, it's more brittle, so some care was needed removing the excess again, but really not bad at all, and I'm very impressed. I ordered it from a seller on there. I'm not going to tell you the name of the seller here because I don't particularly want to encourage this sort of thing. So as I said, I bought this to find out whether he was selling the real stuff cheap or whether it was copies, and it is copies, but noticeably his shop is still there but has no stock, so I wonder if Games Workshop or someone else has spotted what he's up to. But anyway, it didn't come in a blister, it came in some sealed plastic bags, and I'm very happy with how he went together, really. I mean, I do wonder whether this sort of thing costs Games Workshop and other companies money. In my case it doesn't, because although I probably would have got him eventually, I wouldn't have spent any additional money. I just, the £15 or whatever he is that I would have spent getting it from the shop, I'll be buying something else from them, so it doesn't really make any difference. So I'm always a little dubious when they say that this piracy costs, say, a video game company this many $1 million or whatever, where it clearly doesn't, because not everybody who copied it was going to buy it, and as is the case with this. But it's noticeable to me how much casts from resin and from plastic kits have improved over the last few years. It used to be very, very obvious what was fake and what isn't, and now that's just not the case. So I don't encourage it, but perhaps it's worth having a look for maybe discontinued figures and kits that have been reproduced. But I think when this guy's painted up, he'll look fine. I don't particularly think I need to buy another one of him because I don't think it's going to be any better. But there you go, bit of a grey area really. I try not to encourage such things, mostly because I don't know where the money's going. It could go into other more sinister areas of organised crime. It's very hard to tell. I doubt it. It's probably just some little cottage industry, but even so. But anyway, I'm getting off the point here. This guy is official, and he's very, very good. And he's my second resin Skaven, and I'm very impressed. So, all in all, I can recommend it. So that's it for today. I hope to see you on this channel again at some point. I will be reviewing more figures, as well as games, board games, card games, collectibles, all sorts of stuff. So I wish you a happy new year, and subscribe and like if you like, and goodbye for now.